This is one I didn't expect for many, many reasons. First of all, we've been talking a lot about Battlefield as of late, and basically diving into the leaks from Battlefield Labs. But this is a video from someone who stereotypically makes Halo videos, who's Mint Blitz. We've watched him on the channel before. I like his content. And he's talking about Battlefield, and the title is The Battlefield Comeback That Nobody Expected. And I think we all expected a new Battlefield game, but I don't think we expected the response that we have got so far, which is overwhelmingly positive, even though mostly pretty much everyone hasn't played it. So I'm curious what he has to say here. Let's dive in.
Battlefield comeback nobody expected. And when I say nobody, I mean nobody. For the last few months, I've been playing Battlefield in secret in the hopes that the developers would announce a return to form. For years, Battlefield and numerous game developers were chasing the Fortnite trend. The pandemic ruined a lot of plans, and on the whole, a lot of games launched unfinished. The biggest culprit of all was Battlefield 2042, when the game was—
Which, from what I heard, and if you are currently playing 2042, do you still feel as though it's broken? Because I've heard a lot of people say it's pretty good.
Announced, and of the Rendae in the trailer, that's the iconic clip where they jump out of the jet, RPG the enemy jet, and then get back into their own, people thought Battlefield was back. The trailer was awesome.
Battlefield does very good trailers.
And then the game came out, and in reality, it was not what people were expecting. The specialists were horrible, the microtransactions sucked, and on the whole, the game disappointed a lot of people.
Yeah, it struggles with microtransactions.
Like Halo, the last 2 to 3 years was spent getting Battlefield 2042 up to release quality standards. I cannot state enough the damage that was done to the franchise from the broken promises made with Battlefield 2042. Not only because the game wasn't as advertised, but key features that were staples from previous games were just gone. Physics, gunplay, vehicles, quality of life, everything was at a much lower level than past iterations, and frankly, it shouldn't have launched in the state it did. Today, however, is the first light on the horizon, the first glimmer of a resurgence, and man,
well, this is the worry, right? And when this trailer and all of this first came out, the comments were filled with, remember, no pre-orders. I'm skeptical, I'm worried, I want it to be good, but I don't, like, filled with that. And now that people have seen the Battlefield Labs gameplay, they're like, okay, I'm believing the hype, I'm getting into it, but still, if the game's not out, it's not on full servers, like, we still have to be skeptical, still no pre-orders.
Excited, and we are going to talk about all of it. Now, for anyone who is a Battlefield fan who does discover this video, welcome. I usually talk about what's going on in gaming while putting kick-ass gameplay underneath. Today is no exception. You know how I said I've been playing Battlefield in secret? Well, I didn't want to make this video until I pulled off the legendary Battlefield trailer clip. I spent months practicing, I spent months learning. Ever since Battlefield 3 and 4, I watched a man named Ponylion pull off some of the craziest Battlefield tricks in history. They pulled off millions of views. So to celebrate the occasion and the possible comeback of the franchise, check this out.
He did it?
Yes! I did it! I did it! I got it! I got it, guys! Oh, I did it! Finally!
That is pretty dope. Also, dope music.
I did it again! I did it again!
This brings us to today, the Battlefield comeback nobody expected. Battlefield fans,
I have not seen a single airplane in any of the Battlefield footage. Not one.
for years have wanted a game that feels similar to Battlefield 3 and 4. A robust class system, battlefield destruction that is actually an evolution of what games had done over a decade ago. I honestly don't think fans expected all that much. They just want a Battlefield game that feels like a Battlefield game. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, and it's so funny how all game developers seem to do this, stick to what made the franchise great in the first place. Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, all of those games in the past 2 to 3 years have had players say this isn't what made the franchise popular in the first place.
Call of Duty has another problem though. Call of Duty has a problem where it comes out with games so often that they need to make innovations with it and then don't, and then people get too used to it. But it's like an uncanny valley where the game is close but like still a little bit off, and then people don't like it because of that. If Call of Duty we shouldn't compare Call of Duty to Battlefield here, because Battlefield, I think, has like a settled identity. And yeah, there's can be improvements, and that's okay. But I think it's comparing apples to oranges there.
2042 literally launched without a scoreboard. Enough said. So on to the good news. The brand new Battlefield title is being tested in a closed labs environment, which, by the way, you can sign up for access. I'll put the link in the description below if you haven't done it.
I don't know a single person who's got into it.
Agreement, so you can't share any gameplay yet. The thing is, and I expect DICE would have planned this already, when
Probably.
you're doing a test of this size and there's 10,000 people testing out your new game, someone is bound to...
Has that been confirmed that it's 10,000 people who are in this thing? Has that been confirmed?
Leak it, and that is exactly what has happened. In my eyes, I think DICE, the developers, are using it as an early way to gauge how players are feeling about the new title they're working on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through everything. I gotta say though, I'm liking what I'm seeing. So if you were wondering what has leaked, features, quality of life changes, classes, tiny things that the fans have been waiting for years, they're all coming back. Most players, when they first think of Battlefield, they want 4 distinct classes: Assault, Engineer, Recon, and Medic. They are all returning. Next is Destruction, and players immediately took tanks into the private build of the game and tried to drive them
his video's not taken down, so I'm assuming mine won't get taken down.
Also worked. The most important thing here is physics. How the buildings crumble. What sort of destruction is there? Will certain parts of the wall break only, or will it be dynamic? That means if you destroy a certain part of the wall, will that specific spot get blown up, or does the whole wall just crumble? In this early test, it seems like the latter, which is great. In terms of physics, I also want the vehicles to feel like they did in Battlefield 3 and 4. I want the explosions to actually have weight, and if you do put 100 sticks of C4 underneath a quad bike, it should send it flying across the map. Halo fans will know why I'm mentioning this. Now, one of the biggest quality of life features that really shouldn't have gone away are helmet cams. If you're in the menu and want to respawn on a squad mate, you actually have a shoulder cam view of what is happening around them. This gives you more information of what you're respawning into, whether it's a safe place to respawn.
These clips he has in the background are freaking unreal.
It gives the game a lot more soul. To be truthfully honest, it seems like this game is being built exactly like the older games. The user interface, the HUD, the menus, they're all very reminiscent of Battlefield 4. The gunplay, the weapons, the recoil seem like Battlefield 3, but no suppression. Suppression was a mechanic that if you were under fire, your bullets wouldn't go where you aim. Most people hated this, so I don't think it's going to come back.
Call of Duty has tried doing stuff like that over and over and over and over again. And like the more camera shake and basically... not items is the wrong word, but like situations you can't control specifically and screw with your gameplay are never a good thing. So like too much visual shake on weapons, smoke coming out of your weapon where you can't see enemies, that just kind of mess with you playing, clearly have been shown that people don't like that.
About all of this is it finally seems like game developers and video game executives are like, oh, us trying to force change that gamers don't want down their throats isn't working. Who could have seen that coming? More than that, it also seems like they're moving away from releasing half-baked games and have seen that transparency, communication, and showing the current state of development actually takes the pressure off the companies, as the public can clearly see when a game is or isn't ready for release. There's nothing worse than when a game launches unfinished and then shortcuts were taken to actually get said unfinished game out the door early, that it takes even longer now to go peel back the layers of the game, fix what should have been done properly to begin with, and then release a patch. The Battlefield developers went on to say, we've continually evolved our gunplay and movement mechanics throughout the Battlefield series.
Is during the first play test.
Battlefield Labs, we're focused on refining the best elements from past titles, modernizing them, and validating if they would feel fun and rewarding. That's a lot of wordy words and very...
So that's what they are testing through the Battlefield Labs playtests.
What I'm hoping they do is they take everything popular from those past titles, listen to feedback from the fans, and then take the time to work on a game that is completely finished at launch. I shouldn't even have to say that, but with how many games launch unfinished nowadays, most gamers don't have trust that this will happen. The current build that has gameplay leaking and is available for closed testing is pre-alpha. I gotta say, for a pre-alpha game, it looks surprisingly polished, although with DICE full knowing this
The second playtest I don't think looked as polished. I think less people saw that one. But I actually got hate for saying this in the last video. The first weekend looked better. The second map looked cooler, but there was more bugs on the map, like surfaces not loading and things like that. And I'm not going to change my opinion based on what people comment on my video. So that's what I thought from it. But if it's indeed pre-alpha, then yeah, it looks really good for pre-alpha.
is going to leak, I'd imagine the devs polish some of the rougher edges so people are more optimistic for the game's future. The developers went on to say Battlefield Labs content will be tested at a time in our development when it is critical for us to cross-collaborate with our community, with their feedback being crucial in helping us to know what to prioritize, what to improve, and what feels like an authentic Battlefield experience. If you are a Battlefield fan who's wanted a return to form, a return to when the franchise was at its most popular, then this game will hopefully be the game we were waiting for. It already looks better than Battlefield 2042, at least in terms of what you'd imagine a Battlefield game to be.
So here's the thing, I'm going to tell you this already. I'm calling this probably 2 years in advance. We will hit a point where the new Battlefield comes out and it's going to not have a bunch of features from 2042, like the wingsuit, like things like this. And people are going to be mad because it's not the Battlefield that they were playing before. And that's the Call of Duty effect. Call of Duty has had so many iterations that there can no longer be a perfect game because there's that one feature from that one game that you really, really love and is never going to come back. It'll happen. I guarantee you. 2 years from now, mark it on your calendar, put it in your phone, be like, are people wanting the Battlefield game to be more like 2042? Just wait.
So that's a positive. I did get a laugh, however, as Jack Frags uploaded a Battlefield video and he spoke about the leaks acting all surprised, and every single comment in that comment section said, come on man, we know you've been playing the game for a while, you don't need to pretend. The only other thing, and I feel like this is really important to mention, is that the developers really listen to the fans of the franchise. So many times we've seen the same story, they ask for feedback, players give said feedback, developers implement the exact opposite of what fans asked for. Nobody has really spoken about it, but apparently Battlefield is working on a new battle royale. Firestorm, their first attempt at a battle royale, failed spectacularly. It was horribly received, and by all parties was considered a colossal failure. Even Battlefield 2042's Portal mode, it had so much potential, and yet it had so many drawbacks. What should have been the definitive Battlefield experience, celebrating every game that came before, as well as celebrating the future, it turned into a nightmare. Obviously, we all know the higher-ups in charge want a battle royale. They want that Fortnite money, so I am being very cautious. Yes, it's all good they're doing this partnering thing with the community style development, but I do not want the core experience to suffer if prioritization is put into the battle royale. Just food for thought. On the flip side of that, the Battlefield developers have said the main core focus of the testing is going to be on the feel of the different weapon archetypes, improvement to aim and control, weapon balance, the fun factor, look and
I hate when like developers just push on these facts. Because it's like, yeah, those are the things, like those right below, down, right there. Those are the things that make a good shooter game. So of course you're working on those.
Feel of movement,
do we need to say it?
And interacting within the map, and combat pacing. They also stated they wanted to evolve the movement system, and they have revamped animations and reintroduced movement features
like
such as crouch sprint, combat dive, and landing roll. They also added visual indicators to make it easier to understand when movements such as vaulting or leaning are possible. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about the new Battlefield game. We are all hoping the developers have learned their lesson. It does seem like they're listening to players, so we will see. In saying that, from what we have seen via leaks, the class system, the gunplay, the destruction, all of that is very promising. Which leads me to ask you guys, if you have seen the leaks of the new Battlefield, what did you think? I'm also going to ask, if you were a developer and you were working on Battlefield, what is one thing you would do to make the franchise better?
So here's what I find the most interesting about this video, and I will answer your question. So based off of the leaks, I think the thing that everyone's rooting for is a grounded Battlefield game and a grounded shooter, and one that's realistic and like Battlefield. And I think we'll get that. But if you watch the gameplay that he just put behind here, almost everything that he put in this gameplay will not, based off of what we know, will not be doable in this next Battlefield game. Like the wingsuit stuff, like the probably jumping on airplanes, like all of these things, I'm willing to bet will not be doable in this game. So people are going to be mad about that. Like that's what I said. 2 years from now, come back to this and be like, he said it. Now, as far as implementation wise, like what I think I would enjoy, I need story. I need a world. I need the world to feel real. It's something Call of Duty hasn't done in a very long time. Modern Warfare 2019 was the last game to do this, where they had the overarching story and each map felt like a piece of that puzzle put together. Black Ops 4 did a really good job with that. But like as a whole, Battlefield, I needs something to add character to it. And obviously the best thing for that would be characters. So that's what I'm hoping they do. But they don't really have a long history of that whatsoever. Aside from Bad Company, they nailed Bad Company with the characters. But aside from that, nothing really. But yeah, that would be my hope, I guess. And I think shooters do a very bad job at that. And that's something they need to work on. Even Call of Duty. Definitely Call of Duty. But yeah, Battlefield 2.